One night, I just realized I kind of heard a voice in my head, and it said, "Do you want to get sick and do you want to die? Because no one's going to be there for your children and your husband if you do." And I truly hadn't slept more than 3 hours. I mean, we're talking, you just go into that fight and flight, like
Adrenaline just pushing you through.
right? And your brain it's like my brain felt like it was on fire.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, just figuring everything out, from the diagnosis to the bills and how am I going to take care of him? How am I going to take care of my children? It just doesn't stop.
Hi, and welcome back to Be the Train podcast with Selena Ringel. I'm super excited for our guest today, Andrea Suchin. She is the co-founder of Wuggle, which is, she's going to explain to us more, but the tagline is the gift of sleep. And it's about how important sleep is. And it's a product that she created based on something that happened to her. And also, she is an executive producer. She has made a film on her experience, and she's also an advocate and a caretaker. So I'm really excited to deep dive with her about what it's been like to start this journey and kind of what she's gone through to get here. So welcome so much, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Selena.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here. So thank you.
Yay. Thank you. So first of all, I always like to start the podcast by asking, what does Be the Train mean to you when you hear that?
I think for me, it's about advocating.
Yeah.
And not waiting for somebody to help me.
Yeah.
Because I think, as we found, you really truly need to do things yourself.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was really taking control over my life and the situation that I was unfortunately, had to be put in, and overcoming, and what I could do.
Yeah.
With my story.
So tell us a little bit about your story and how you came up with Wuggle.
Sure, absolutely. So I would say, gosh, it's been 5 years ago. My husband was diagnosed at 52 years old with behavioral frontal temporal lobe dementia.
Okay.
He was a Harvard-trained physician, brilliant, and all of a sudden he started to change. And when we talk about Be the Train, I had to advocate, fight for doctors for 2 years before his diagnosis to make them listen to me. No one believed me.
Interesting.
That
Why? I'm curious.
Because what 50-year-old Harvard doctor, why is there something wrong with him? Why is he changing? His personality was changing. He was forgetting to eat. He was leaving the car on. He then became compulsive about his eating, and having what we would call, in my world, I would say, episodes of the screaming and the crying and more like almost abusive verbally. Thank God not physical, but that can happen. And so this gentle, wonderful man was just changing.
And did people think it was just age, or what were people assuming it was?
OCD. I was told that he was bipolar, maybe he had OCD.
Okay.
He was diabetic, so we thought maybe it was diabetic rage. So just pushing and saying, no, that's not it. And then finally, after, I would say, 18 months of this going on, it was during COVID, which was almost a blessing.
Yeah, but also a weird time, because I'm sure everyone was kind of like, "Oh, it's COVID. Everyone's being crazy.
Well, that's
everyone's being
thought.
weird. Everyone's angry right now." Like,
Right. He's at home. He can't work. He loves his patients. He's an incredible, doctor. And so we kind of chalked it all up to, what was going on. And I remember my daughter coming home for COVID, and she's like, "What is happening?" And I said, I'm trying. I'm doing everything I can. And then finally I taped him having an episode, which was so heartbreaking for me, because I felt like it was a violation of his privacy, but he saw me do it. Like, I was holding the phone, and I thought, this is the only way I'm going to get doctors to listen, especially during COVID. We can't go into the hospital. We can't go
to show them.
Right. And so the doctor called me and said, "Oh, I think he's having seizures." I said, "This is not seizures."
Yeah.
And I said, he either has a brain tumor, dementia, or Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And finally, the doctor listened to me. And we were able to, over Zoom, meet with a neurologist, and within 5 minutes she diagnosed him, and
Wow.
that's all it took. And I mean, I had some support, also from my sister, who's also my care part. She was my care partner. She's my co-founder with Wuggle. So she was kind of my push, like, no, I know also there's something wrong, and we're gonna figure this out. And so
Did he have to go like get like a brain
yeah,
scan
we
or
had to do
yeah.
MRIs and CTs and everything, and it came down to the neurology, the testing, and talking to the doctor, and it was obviously, I would say, traumatic,
Yeah.
obviously for him, for my 4 children, who at the time were, I mean, babies,
Yeah.
9 years old, 11, I think 14, 11, 14, and 17, and then
Four
this is what
kids.
was happening. And then the diagnosis 2 years later, my daughter comes home, so she was her freshman in college, and when she came home, and then the diagnosis, sorry, was 2 years later. So everyone experiences trauma. I mean, there were really a lot of
Of
PTSD,
course.
seeing their father really change from who he was.
Yeah.
So it was really, really difficult, for sure.
Yeah.
And one thing is the survival mode you go into as a caregiver.
Yeah.
That reality is, you've just lost your husband. You've
Yeah.
lost your life.
Yeah.
You've lost everything that you were, used to,
Yeah.
and the security. And it was a lot of fighting of
One
life.
one also I think, you're already a caretaker as you're taking care of your
Yes.
children,
Oh, yeah.
right? So you're
Right.
already as a mother
Sure.
carrying the load. I
Hmm.
think most mothers carry a super, super heavy
So
load
much.
we don't even talk
Right.
about. And then to have a husband who's not showing up the way you're used to or the
Yeah.
way that makes sense to you,
Yeah.
or being able to do maybe the things that he had committed to do because he forgot something or he left
Yeah.
something out or he's angry or
Yeah.
and so now all of a sudden there's like a fifth person. So it's
He's a
almost like
child.
yeah, you're
That's
taking care of
right.
5 people.
You nailed
And
it.
so then
Right.
what happens to you?
Right. That's it. And that's exactly right, is that you worry about your husband, and how, fighting for Social Security, disability, and how am I going to pay our bills, and
Yeah.
fighting this health system. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And and then you worry about your children, their mental health, their physical health. Forget about you. I mean,
Yeah.
I was
The last
I
thing
I
on
was
your
on the
mind.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I truly wanted to crawl into a ball and just really disappear.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I don't have a choice. I have to get up for these children.
Yeah.
I have to get up for my husband. And that, it really truly became survival mode for me. And that went on for, pretty much until, he passed away 1 year ago. And I'm still in survival mode because now I'm a widow with 4 children. So
Yeah.
all the years of being the advocate, then the caregiver, really taught me so much. And that's why I continue to advocate for caregivers, because even though my husband's passed away, I am still a caregiver to my children, and
Of
the
course.
experience that they had to go through, and knowing so deep in my heart what caregivers go through every day,
Yeah.
with their loved ones.
No, it's
It's pretty
enormous.
heartbreaking.
How did Wuggle First of all, tell us
Yeah.
what Wuggle is,
Okay, so
and then tell us how it
yeah.
came up.
So Wuggle actually means to hug and to cuddle in the Urban Dictionary,
Okay.
right? So
Love me a Wuggle.
right, I love you, Wuggle, and who doesn't need a hug,
I
right?
mean, yeah,
We all need a
everyone.
hug.
Yeah.
And one night, I realized it had been, I think, almost 2 years, over 2 years, I hadn't slept. I mean, caregivers were up, we're waiting. What's the next drop? What's going to happen? Do they need us? Did we have a
And I
good
just wanna take
day?
a moment to say I'm
Sure.
so sorry.
Oh, thank you. Very sweet. Thank you.
You're like,
I
"You might
know.
get emotional." I am emotional.
I
That's really
know.
hard.
No, it was very
It's very
hard. And
hard.
he was, he was my best friend.
Yeah.
And it's still every day, I talk to him, and, and say, "Hi, Craig," and kind of fill him in, what's going on. And, I feel he's around me,
Yeah.
guiding. And this one night, I just realized, I kind of heard a voice in my head, and it said, "Do you want to get sick? And do you want to die? Because no one's going to be there for your children and your husband if you do." And I truly hadn't slept more than 3 hours. I mean, we're talking you just go into that fight and flight,
It's like
like
adrenaline
just
just pushing you
adrenaline,
through.
right? And your brain just, it's like my brain felt like it was on fire.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, just figuring everything out from the diagnosis to the bills and how am I
Yeah.
going to take care of him? How am I going to take care of my children? It just doesn't stop. So this night I looked down and my daughter had bought me this beautiful blanket. And it came back to wanting a hug. And
Yeah.
I took the blanket and I wrapped it around my head really tight twice. And Selena, for the first time, I slept 6 hours. And I did it the next night. And I called my sister, who's my care partner. She was incredible with my husband. And I tell her, and she says, Andrea, you can't keep on wrapping this blanket around your head. You're dripping sweat,
Yeah.
which I was. And she says, let's come up with something more practical. And so we started finding fabrics and cutting up and doing this. And my niece, Talia, is an incredible designer and graphic designer, and she sews. And she came over and she started sewing up everything. And we came up with a prototype. And I said, well, let's do this and let's do that. And I put it on, and my niece says, I want to snuggle with my Wuggle. And that was it. And Wuggle was born. We brought it to neurologists and psychiatrists and other caregivers. And eventually we basically went into a sleep study with the USC Falzarano Family Caregiver Lab.
Okay.
And we finished phase 1 and we're going into phase 2. And basically, we are finding that it's an incredible comfort naturally without having medication. And
So tell us, just like for anyone who hasn't seen a Wuggle.
so basically it's a sleep cap and an
Okay.
eye mask
Okay.
combination.
Yeah.
And we also have an insert that goes into it. It's a
Okay.
lavender insert, also unscented, because a lot of women or men can't have the lavender scent.
Yeah.
And so it gives you that deep touch pressure on your forehead,
Yeah.
which soothes your sensory system.
Yeah.
So kind of think of it as a hug for your brain.
Yeah.
And so it soothes my brain.
I love that.
Yeah,
Hug for your
It
brain.
was a hug for your brain. And so we basically have this wonderful product. And I thought, I don't have a lot of energy, right? So what am I going to do with this? And I thought, what if we could help other caregivers? And so we
Yeah.
started partnering with nonprofit organizations.
Oh, smart.
Hilarity for Charity,
Yes.
which is an incredible.
They're amazing.
Yes.
I've been a bunch of
Yeah,
times.
Lauren Miller, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I work with Alex and Ashley, and they're incredible. And we donate to a lot of their programs that they have,
Yeah.
the youth program. And then we For Their Thoughts and, AFTD, which is the Association for Frontal Temporal Lobe Dementia.
Yeah.
And I've met such incredible people like Dementia Darling, Will Gather, and again, the USC Falzarano Family Caregiver Lab, Dr. Falzarano, she was a caregiver for her since she was 14 years old for 17 years. So I started meeting all these people and these nonprofits, and I thought, well, what if I could give back to them?
Yeah.
And what an incredible gift that would be,
Yeah.
And so really working with let's say Hilarity for Charity, it's just a blessing. It's so exciting to
That's
see the
amazing.
change. Yeah.
I love a hug for your brain. I
Yeah.
feel like that should be
The tag.
somewhere.
Right.
Yeah,
I
that should be a
love that.
tag.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like that's a
yeah,
really
yeah,
good tag
yeah.
because what's interesting about that to me is I immediately think, oh, my brain would love a
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah.
I think everybody's brain would love
we
a
all need a
hug.
hug,
Or like
right?
on overuse,
Gives
overdrive, over everything, overstimulation, over everything.
Right. And it gives you the permission to calm. And it's not just sleep, it's anxiety, it's the stress.
Yeah.
We have people who have migraines, the headaches, tension headaches. We have children who have ADHD who use it. Children have neurological issues. I mean, it's really a very calming, aid. And we have found, I get people reaching out to me. We send all over the world. And I will get people who reach out and say, oh my gosh, this has been life-changing. Thank you so much. I get caregivers who reach out to me who are just, thank you for sharing your story. And, I always try, if someone can't financially afford, any, whatever they're going through, I always try to help them. I'm never going to say no to anybody.
Yeah.
I want to be able to truly give everyone a hug, because I know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's pretty devastating, when your life, and even if you have migraines, it's devastating. And
Yeah.
we, actually, I was so blessed. I got a call, a DM from a mom who we gave a wuggle to, whose son has Down syndrome and cancer. And she says, I've been wearing it in the hospital. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You get these calls like Catherine, her husband had a brain surgery. Thank you. I brought it to the hospital. So
Yeah.
it's those moments that really keep me going.
So, what would you say has been the best part about doing this? And what's been the hardest part about doing this?
For me, the best part is giving back.
Yeah.
It's really just thinking that this whole journey wasn't in vain,
Yeah.
and that I can give back to others the gift of sleep, truly.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel good. The hardest part was losing my husband and not
Yeah.
having my best friend. He knew I was doing this. So that was special, and he was proud of me. I don't know if he understood exactly why I was doing it, but
Yeah.
that's been the hardest part. And just, I think, patience, that
Yeah.
this is, it will build, it will be one day at a time in life. That's just, I think my motto is,
Yeah.
you have to take this one day at a time.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
So, what would you say are some of the things that you've implemented? And now I'm talking more on like an entrepreneurship,
Sure. Yeah.
level. What are some of the things, some of the habits that you've built out that you think have been really useful to you as you're kind of growing this and helping more people and expanding?
Having a partner, my sister, that's been really helpful. Somebody who believes in Wuggle, saw what we went through as a family. I have a wonderful gentleman, Greg Hill, who he works for us basically as a team.
Yeah.
I can't really, he says, you can't afford me, but I love your story and I love your product. And he's been our right-hand man. I think, the social media, that's kind of like where we're building up. I would say most of our sales are word of mouth, and podcast.
Amazing.
That's been a blessing. So really, I think just learning how to be a businesswoman and, sometimes saying, okay, I'm done today, because I could sit like you all day and
Yeah.
just focus on Wuggle and what we need to do or sending out.
But you also have 4 kids.
And I have 4 kids. So
Yeah.
sometimes at night, my sister will say, you need to stop. You need, it's late. Where do you get this energy? And, sometimes at night I'm home alone, the kids are asleep or, they're off doing their thing, and Craig's not there. So my mind needs that go. Like, it kind of, if I stop, it's a little scary. I think most people would say, especially who've gone through this, is you need to keep on going, because it feels good to go.
And to have something that you're doing that you care about, and the purpose and the meaning of what you're bringing back to everyone else.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the most surprising, incredible email or thing that has happened with Wuggle since you started it?
I would say there's been a lot of emails. I just got such a beautiful email the other day talking about this woman in Canada. I mean, it had to be 6 paragraphs, just how my story has touched her. That was incredible, and how difficult her sleeping is, and and the excitement around the Wuggle. So many people have been so supportive, because either they've gone through it, or they know someone who's gone through it, or maybe they're going through those motions right now, of being a caregiver. And so, there's so many moments where I just say, thank you for that sign, because it keeps me going.
And for being able to connect with other people who have gone through something similar.
Yeah. and to help them.
So we are actually doing a talk together. So
Yes.
what is your talk going to be about? Would you want to share?
Yes, of course. So, sleep is not a luxury. It is truly how we survive.
Yeah.
And our bodies need the rest.
Yeah.
Our brains can't function. Our bodies can't function. We
Yeah.
cannot be present
Yeah.
for ourselves, for our children, for our loved ones, even for work, if we do not give ourselves that gift of sleep.
Yeah.
And so I talk about that. I talk about my husband and our journey and what led into, creating this research,
Yeah.
about the deep touch pressure and can this help people? And it helped me. So my attitude was, I can't be alone here. There
Yeah.
has to be other people. And so, I really am focusing on reminding people that number one, advocating is really important. I mean,
Yeah.
I really felt so lost and alone, even through the journey of being a caregiver. I don't think caregivers ever go up onto the roof and shout, "Help me."
Yeah.
No, no, we are alone. We cry in the car, and at night, I would cry and just scream, "Why is this happening?"
Yeah.
And so that talk is really sharing that story of, what can we do to not feel alone? What can we do to help ourselves?
Yeah.
And really, truly, that night of sharing, hey, you got to do something to help yourself. Because again, no one is going to say, I'm going to help you with your sleep.
What did you feel like when you were going through this and you were not sleeping well? How were you experiencing the effects of not sleeping in all the other pieces of your life? Like, what were
It's
you
hard.
starting to experience or like noticing about
Oh, just,
yourself?
exhaustion. I mean,
Yeah.
I would just stare. And I think the weight of everything that was going on was just literally in my chest every
Yeah.
day. And now that feeling on my chest is the grief,
Yeah.
it's the pain. And the grief also is real while that person is alive, knowing the
Yeah.
changes. And so, every day you feel like you're dragging like a chain. Right? It's like that physical exhaustion, and you go, "When is that chain gonna break?" "When am I gonna break?" And, I mean, I will share, I did have some health issues, that I had to take care of myself, and that was a real wake-up call
Of
for me.
course. I mean, I think so many times health issues actually come
Yep,
from places like that,
yeah,
where, whether it's not sleeping enough
yep,
or whether it's high stress
mhm,
or whether it's not eating,
yeah. Oh, forget eating.
nutritious
Right,
food. And it's
right,
so interesting because your body just
right,
starts to actually
right.
like yell at you
Yeah.
for not
Oh,
treating
yeah.
it
Right. No,
properly.
true. Like,
Yeah.
eating became difficult for
Yeah.
me. Besides the sleep, it was okay. I remember my daughter would call and ask me a question, and it was like it took everything out of me to answer that question. Your brain just can't
Yeah.
focus
Yeah. I can't
on
focus because it's not well
it's not right. You're not
taken care
right. You're
of.
not rested,
Yeah.
and so you're being asked to make all these big decisions for everybody, not just your loved one. For your family and yourself, and it truly is a struggle, and
Yeah.
it became very hard for me. For
Yeah.
sure. But I managed, that's where that survival mode goes in. Your brain turns on and says, nope, you have to survive this.
Yeah. So what would you say for, I think your specific product, what you've made, comes
Hmm.
from such a like deeply authentic place.
Sure.
Like you really went through something,
Yeah.
saw a problem you needed to solve for yourself,
Right.
and then created
Yeah.
something from that.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of entrepreneurship happens like that, actually.
Sure.
It's like
Right.
someone's
Right.
going through something and they're like, oh my God, I need to
Right.
resolve this for
Right.
myself. How do I
Yeah,
do that?
right.
Um, what would you say to someone else going through something right now? What would be some advice you would give them about what it's like to start something? What are some of the bumps on the road they might,
Yeah,
and how do
right.
they keep going
Yeah.
when it feels hard?
I mean, I think for me, I don't I didn't set out to
Yeah.
do a product, right? I didn't set out for this. I wasn't like, "Oh, I'm going to wake up today and try to make, advocate for caregivers and sleep, but for a society as a whole. I didn't set out for that. So I would say, but it felt really good.
Yeah.
And that was that feeling that I took. And I said, if this is something special and it's working for other people, not just me, then why wouldn't I share this?
Yeah.
When I started sharing not just my story, but the product, and I saw that I was getting this positive feedback, it felt so good. And I thought this can be something for not just me, but for other people. And that
Yeah.
really, I think, is, when you do something that you love, it's
Yeah.
going to make you happy, but also help other people. And it should be successful because in your heart, you're doing something for other people,
Yeah.
which is nice. So that would be my advice. My advice would be do what you love.
Yeah. Do what you love and advocate what feels
Advocate.
true to you.
Yeah. Yeah. There are, statistically, there are 53 million unpaid caregivers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do do you have any thoughts on how that can get
Well,
resolved?
so it's interesting because 63, I was just doing some research and we were, I'm talking about the sleep study, and 63% of those caregivers will pass away before their loved ones from exhaustion,
Wow.
from physical ailments,
That's so
from
hard.
financial stress, right? So, here I am. I'm pushing, right? There might be people who are younger, older, who, they can't do this anymore. Or maybe they get a disease. That's where that 63% comes from, because
Yeah.
the stress of your and your
Of
body,
course, of taking care of someone else
Right.
and not taking care of
right. And
yourself.
stress causes, your body not to be healthy, and then
Yeah.
you can get sick. And so, it's a real problem that we have. And what would I say we can do is bring awareness.
Yeah.
Just talking about it, having this conversation together. It's pretty shocking, the statistics, of what's going on. And, sometimes it's the lack of support that you don't feel like you have.
And also maybe just having more compassion and
Yeah.
awareness for caretakers, and extending an extra hand.
Yeah, that's
I think, it is so interesting. I wonder how many people we know who are caretakers
sure.
that we're not even aware of.
Right. Or they don't.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, no.
They're
and-
just kind of living their
right,
life, taking care of someone in their family
right,
and living with all of this
right.
stress and anxiety and lack of sleep. But it's not everyone even knows who's a caretaker necessarily.
Yeah, and caregivers, like I said, we don't shout.
Yeah.
You might know, oh, her husband is sick, or oh, her child,
Yeah.
maybe a child is sick, and you might know. And somebody once said to me, it was actually interesting because, the phone calls, your friends, they kind of disappear, right?
Yeah.
And I once was told by somebody, they said, a lot of times people don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Or, they're grateful it's not them, maybe what they're going through.
Yeah.
They can't relate. And that was something I really had to challenge myself to understand, because I would be like, no, I want to be there. I want to check in. And I do. That's where I think this comes from, is that this constant, I know what you're going through feeling. And even if I don't, I still would like to be there. Right. And I think people get scared because they don't truly understand maybe what someone is going through, and they don't have the right words. They don't know what to say.
I think I can see that a lot too. And I think definitely in friendships, especially when people get older,
Sure.
People are so busy, and that if they stop knowing what to say, they don't even know how to engage anymore,
Right.
which becomes very hard. I've even had in friendships people who say they're going to do something and then they don't do it.
Right.
And then they don't even know how to show up to say they're sorry they didn't do it.
Right.
Because it's almost like this weird thing where confrontation
Yeah.
or speaking about the hard thing gets so much harder.
Yeah.
Because when you're young, it's oh, I did this, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry, you suck, I forgive you, we move on. Or what, you know what I mean? Or and it's so interesting how, and it's funny too, because even as kids, I was reading this book that was about something completely different, but it was about kids that were going through something different that was very hard.
Yeah.
And how in the context of being a kid, there's no filter.
Yeah.
So people just talk about, kids talk about everything in this super open way.
Sure.
Where there is no kind of feelings
They don't
around.
understand. Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Right.
this person's sick.
Right.
Okay, like, so are
Right.
you happy or are you sad? Or,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah, and I think that's the message we have to say is, "Hey," I mean, I would get phone calls from people or texts, "Hey, I'm thinking about you every day." And I truly now do feel that they are thinking
yeah, they
about me.
meant it.
They
Yeah,
meant it, and at first I was like kind of overwhelmed with that message, and now I get it. And I feel like the best thing you can do is reach out and say, "Do you need anything?"
yeah,
I think I would get is, "How is he?"
yeah,
He's dying. I mean,
yeah,
there's no real positive answer to that, right?
yeah,
Or he's died, and how are you? Well, I'm not good inside,
yeah.
but outside I might look okay.
I'm doing the best
I'm
I
doing the
can.
best I can, and I
Yeah,
take it one day at a time, and I throw myself into just, continuing his voice of, he was a doctor, so that giving back, was
yeah,
really such a beautiful blessing that he was able to do. And so I thought, well, let me keep on giving back, and I think being strong is really important, not just for me, but for my children,
yeah,
that they see, hey, mommy didn't crawl into that ball, even though she wanted to.
yeah,
I got up, I was present, I'm still present, I'm trying to make a change, and, I love how proud my children are of, that's, I think, a really
yeah.
big
That's
moment for me.
beautiful. What would you say? What would you say people like if someone is going through a
Yeah.
very hard time? What would you say is like a nice thing to hear or something that would actually feel good? Like, what can people say to someone who's going through a hard time that would be received with, like, oh, thank you? That's actually the kind of message I would love to get.
I think that that message would be, "I know you're going through a lot, and I want you to know that, I'm here for you, that there might be days that are bad, but, you can call me.
Yeah.
Um, I am proud of you.
Yeah.
Wow, look what you are going through. This can't be easy."
Yeah.
I mean, I think, if I reflect on what people are going through, it's truly that, "Hey, I see that you're going through every day.
Yeah.
How are you getting through it?
And how can I be there
What
for
can I
you?
do to be there for you?" Yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
absolutely.
And this was a really beautiful conversation and thank you
Thank
for being
you.
so honest
Yeah, absolutely.
and authentic and telling us more about everything you're
Thank
doing.
you.
So if you could just tell us where can people find you?
Yeah.
Where can people find Wuggle?
Yes.
How can people help you spread the word?
Oh, that would be great. Well, first off, you will be getting your Wuggle, so
Yay.
you can demonstrate to all of your podcasts and all your followers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You
So,
will be getting a book.
oh, yay! I love that. Definitely support is great. So you can go to at Wuggle Me. That's our Instagram and Facebook, and our website is what it's www.wugglememe.com. And so reach out to me. I'm always happy to get people, with their stories or whatever they need. And yeah, just support us, like our page, share with your friends if you get a Wuggle. One of the best blessings to us is when we get an order and it says from a friend. That's how they heard from us. And that really touches my heart. So yeah, so thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.